This is Shelby the Coonhound and Indy the German Shepherd Cross. Indy is the pointy-eared one there on the floor. He's trying to get Shelby to play with him, which he's doing quite successfully at this stage. So I wanted to use this quick video just to show you what you can expect when you see nice, balanced dog play. Because sometimes it's quite hard to figure out if they are actually playing nicely or not. And a lot of what you'll hear is, oh, their tails are wagging, they're happy. That's not really the case. So I just wanted to run through a few things with you as to how to tell if they're being nice when they're playing or if they're not. So what we see here is that Indy started on the floor. That was him inviting Shelby to play and making himself vulnerable. He's like, okay, come here, let's go play, come on, let's try. And what you can see throughout, despite Indy being quite a large dog, he's about 8 kilos or about 16 to 18 pounds heavier than she is. So he's naturally quite a bit stronger. He's hampering himself throughout. So throughout the process, he's not jumping on her and he's not being quite as forward as she is. So there, where she's just put her paws on his shoulders, you'll notice that Indy really doesn't do that to her much, and he doesn't make her bear his weight, which is a nice sign to start us off. Next to that, you'll see that there's balance amongst them. That Indy will lead for a minute, but he'll back off, and then Shelby will take the lead. They are listening to each other throughout as well. There are some very subtle signs to sort of say, "Hey, back off for a second." And even though Indy's just charged under her ear, they're both still happy. A few signs that you can sort of see throughout this is that Shelby will either divert attention, or she'll lick her lips, or Indy will do the same, and the other one will listen to say, "Oh, okay, that's enough then. I'll take a pause there," which is lovely to see. Next, that you might notice there that Indy's tucked his ears. That can sometimes be deemed as a sign of aggression. In this instance, it's most certainly not. It's basically just him getting his ears out of the way so that she doesn't try and chew on them. Throughout the process, there is a lot of trust involved. That each dog has to trust that the other one is going to listen to the signs that they give to sort of say, "Enough's enough," or "That's a little too far for me." And typically, they're doing it very well throughout this process. They're listening to one another, and even for the subtle cues, they are very much attentive, which is great to see, because if dog play goes too far, we all know that it can end in a little bit of a fight, which is not what we want. We want to make sure that our puppies are happy throughout their play, and if they're not, that we step in. And that's important, because sometimes dogs don't know how to regulate themselves, and they're never going to learn how to regulate themselves unless we give them a little bit of guidance, and that's fine. You're welcome to interrupt play, and even if the other owner that you might be out with seems to think it's fine, if you don't, you are your dog's best advocate, and please do separate them if they need to be separated. And give everybody a little break and a little bit of time to calm down. This episode of Bitey Face is a really sort of interesting one, because Shelby's actually got bigger jaws than Indy. Indy might be bigger than her, but she's actually got a wider jaw span than he does. So there, you just seen Shelby lick her lips, and you'll notice that the play slowed down for a second. That it's given Shelby a chance to sort of get comfortable again, and Indy's gone in at a lower angle, giving Shelby the benefit, and tried to entice her back in, which he's done successfully. He's pretty well socialised, so it's nice to see him helping her find her comfort zone. He will lapse in a minute, and no dog is perfect, so please don't think that they have to be. But there, actually, you'll see that you've seen the whites of Shelby's eyes. Normally that can be a sign of stress, or that they're uncomfortable with the exchange, but you have to be aware that that the dog themselves is a factor in this. So, for example, Shelby is a coonhound, and she is quite droopy by nature. So this means that, you know, you can often see the whites of her eyes there at the corner, and you'll see there that Shelby actually gave him a warning snap. We're getting towards the end of play now, and that is a stress shake. That's Shelby going, enough's enough. Indy's tried to coax her in again. And what you'll see when they raise their heads is that Indy's now licking Shelby's lips, which is a really quick sort of apology. That's his way of going, oh, sorry, I didn't see, I didn't quite realise. And Indy's done his little stress shake there, and that actually means that he's accepted that the play is done, that the time is over. Shelby's now deflecting, so she doesn't want to engage him. She's backing off and she's leaving him be, and that is the play over and done with. So there are ways you can tell these things, they're not always obvious, and I do really recommend that you sort of look at these things objectively if possible. Sometimes obviously you're too close to, but if you have recordings like this or extra material like this, I'm hoping it helps. I'm hoping that you find it useful, and if you did, like and subscribe, and check out the blog post that goes with this, because I've gone into it in a little bit more detail so that you guys can get a better idea. I'm hoping that we can find a nice balance for all of our puppies and make sure that their socialisation and their play is a wonderful, positive experience. It's a really good thing. Dogs need to be able to play, and there's no reason that they shouldn't, just so long as we know when to step in. Okay? Thanks, guys!